Arpit Shukla, sir, can you enlighten us as to how is an investigation in corporate frauds conducted and what are the institutions in India responsible for the same?
So after the amendment of the Companies Act, the new act in 2013, there were certain provisions which were added under Section 241. The central government, if it is of the opinion that the affairs of the company are being conducted in a manner which are prejudicial to the public interest, it may apply itself to the NCLT for orders under the heading of Prevention and Operation of Management Act. The tribunal, National Company Law Tribunal under Section 242 and 337, 339 have immense powers to carry out, to take action against such defaulters. And even for the shareholders, the company law for the first time has allowed first-class action suits under Section 245. And the directors and auditors for any fraudulent, unlawful, wrongful act or omission or conduct. Under Section 211, the central government has established an office for serious fraud investigation to investigate frauds relating to companies. No other investigation agency shall proceed with investigation in a case in respect for any offense under the Act. So after bringing this serious fraud investigation office, they have brought an agency to initiate prosecution against the company which have been regularly defaulting. Initially, the more popular agencies were the Central Bureau of Investigation and the Enforcement Directorate. But now, after they have brought in the SFIO, this organization has been given more teeth under the Companies Act. So the punishments for fraud are also detailed in Section 447, and which varies from 6 months to up to 10 years. There are several challenges which still are being faced by these organizations, because these lawsuits involve a lot of time and money, and it takes lot of cost to educate the fraud and costs involved in prosecution and adjudication of fraud cases. This is a real challenge which is being faced.
So on this point, I would like to ask the panel that what do you think are the challenges that are faced by authorities? Like to define corporate fraud, is it difficult to define and find out where corporate frauds are happening?
But you can go first. I'll follow up with your answer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you come again? Yeah.
I just asked that is the difficulty lies in defining corporate frauds, and it becomes difficult for the authorities to detect these scams. So, because at times it appears that, as sir already pointed out, that till the time Ramalingam Raju came out and declared that there were frauds happening in Satyam, no authorities knew about it. So is the problem related to this aspect as well?
So basically, this issue is, as Sir has rightly pointed out, the banking regulatory bodies are given powers under the various legislation, but still this requires a lot of effort on the part of agencies, enforcement agencies, to look into it and enforce the laws more strictly. So
the problem lies in enforcement of laws that are existing.
Right.
Okay, sir. Sir, you mentioned about different agencies. Can the panel highlight what are the different agencies that are involved in investigation and screening of corporate frauds?
Right. So, foremost is CBI, big ticket frauds. So for the recent scams that you have heard of, the 2G scam, the coal scam, the Amaram's role was inspected by ED and CBI independent. ED is Enforcement Directorate. Then you have the Central Economic Intelligence Bureau. It was formed in 1995. It has other functions to look at and cooperate with the role of CBI and Custom and Excise Board, which is the CBEC, and the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, which is the DRI, and the Central Board of Excise Taxes, CBDT. So these are all different type of corporate frauds. Because when you say corporate, what are people doing? Even in GST, you have a penal provision for punishing GST evasion. So it has been made into a criminal offense. There are GST persons who are doing, they are raiding offices where GST compliance either has not done or people are purposefully evading GST. So whether it be DRI or CBEC or CBDT or CBI or even state CIDs, they look into all these matters. And I said, as you have Enforcement Directorate, you have the Director General of Income Tax Investigation, again in looking into GST purposes, and tasks like COFEPOSA, which is pertinent to foreign exchange and prevention of smugglings, etc. Then you have the Directorate of Income Tax Intelligence and Criminal Investigation, which looks into the modus operandi of various organizations. You have the Economic Intelligence Council, as RPG said, SFIO. It has started to gain some momentum of late because it has become very active in serious embezzlement, where serious big frauds are involved. So it's something. Now the main question that we need to ask is why do we need so many bodies? Can we simplify this? Because that is one question I always ask myself. So for example, if you look of a crime, and before I answer this, I'll answer the question that you also put to RPG is how can these authorities monitor and try to curb fraud? Look, it's very difficult because crime is a very basic human nature. When you say corporate frauds, please understand that corporate frauds are being manned by people who are running the corporates. A building made of brick and mortar doesn't commit corporate fraud. It's the people who are inside it. People, like you and I, simple individual human beings, people commit fraud. So you have this whole corporate hierarchy with the CFO, CEO, CMD, DM, associate, senior associate, managing partner, associate partner, this and that, all that. So who are these? These are only designation in a corporate setup. But at the end of the day, the paperwork, the direction, the decision is taken by individuals. So crime is always very individualistic, and that is what people forget. The moment the corporate fraud, people think, okay, Satyam is doing. What is Satyam? Satyam is body run by Ramalinga Rao. If you think of Sara is headed by Subrata Roy. If you think of Kingfisher United Breweries, it is Vijay Mallya. If you think of Nirav Modi as a brand, Nirav Modi is a jeweler, but Nirav Modi was doing all these things. So a diamond on its own is not creating a fraud. A chit fund on itself is not creating a fraud. But the individuals in criminal connivance or conspiracy, allegedly, so as to say, are committing fraud on people. हिंदी में कहावत है कि चोर तब कहला जाता है जब उसकी चोरी पकड़ी जाती है, तब तक हर आदमी शरीफ होता है. तो जब तक आप पे धारा नहीं लगी या कुछ नहीं हुआ तब तक आप शरीफ हैं. और जैसे ही आप पे ये सारे जो अथॉरिटीज हैं वो आप पे शिकंजे कसती हैं, they start attacking you, whether it be CFIO or CBI or ED or whatever, because now there are 3, 4 or multiple cases that people lodge against fraud on you. Let me give an example. So it's not just India. Let's take an example of Enron when it happened, in America. When the 2008, the whole economy went down the world over because there was a bubble burst of the real estate. The economy was slowing before COVID-19, when the real estate in India was also in trouble because of so many inventories either not being incomplete or money being taken but being channelized to some other things. So people like Unitech, Amrapali, JP, all these builders were put to task by going to courts, and most of their owners or promoters are today in jail. Like Sanjay Chandra from Unitech and all that, they were put behind bars. Amrapali, what their condition is. So she works. I would not know in normal banking terms, do you have a different structure for a debit or a credit? When we're in law school, and I'm only talking of lawyers here, you are not made to study accountancy. You are not made to study the banking system or the regulation. You are just made to study the basic system. So if a student or if a law student who is going to be a lawyer tomorrow is not made to understand how the business world works or the whole business of the law about it, then they will again take number of years by the time they start to have an area of expertise to realize what is going to happen. Similarly, either a BBA or an MBA or a BTech or whatever discipline you are from, the moment you enter the industry, first you're an employee. As an employee, you first are trained to learn work. By the time you are trained to learn work, what are your superior doing if they're pulling a fast one on the market? You do not know. So I think the even today, CA will give you a report that something is amiss. The exchequer money is being misused. That's how the whole CWG pro also came into being. So when a body like CAG is auditing your account, it's a government auditor, then that has to be taken seriously. A report has to be filed. Similarly, you have the big fours who do forensic audits in a criminal matter. You have Deloitte, you have EY, you have PwC, you have KPMG, the big fours. So we have handed over to the big four. They are doing one of the big fours. They are doing the forensic audit. Now that forensic audit is a stage number 2. The first stage, and because I also represent banks, within banks also you have an audit team. You have a team which looks after prevention of corruption matters. So the question that we need to ask the authorities or the powers to be is, why were you sleeping at the time when these things were happening by your clients? Were you not aware, or were your persons not aware? Because how approval takes place in a bank, for example, we are talking about corporate fraud. So bank have a role in that. So when you take a loan of 1,000 crores, 2,000 crores, 10,000 crores from the consortium, and it is freely approved for these businesses, why are your chartered accountants, your company secretaries, your seniors, your managers, your senior management system, why are they not raising red flag then and there? Why is it being converted into NPA or a non-performing asset? And eventually, once it's converted into a non-performing asset and then a FIR is lodged, by the time the money has siphoned, the problem. So who is answerable for this? A lawyer is not answerable for this. A judge is definitely not answerable for this, because a crime is reported, then a defense lawyer or a prosecution springs into action, and the judge and the trial has to decide. But that is after the harm has been done. Vijay Mallya takes a flight, goes to UK. Nirav Modi takes a flight, goes to UK. So how did they take a flight? The flight flew from Indian soil. Who gave them the approval while all this was happening to take a flight conveniently and go to some other country? These are never asked in a news report, because the news circus is too busy in creating Riya Chakravarti, Sushant Singh Rajput and other matters, and all the Bollywood drama which is happening. So ध्यान हटाने वाली बात है ना, आपको तो ध्यान कभी जाएगा ही नहीं, इसलिए आपको कॉर्पोरेट लॉ, सबको कॉर्पोरेट बड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स लगता है, so complexity कुछ नहीं होती, things are very simple, but they are made to appear complex, and that is what I have learned in my profession. It looks very fancy. I'm working on a very complex transaction. Oh, this is a very complex fraud. कितना कॉम्प्लेक्स हुआ होगा फ्रॉड आपने कंपनी क्रिएट की होगी, शेल कंपनी क्रिएट की होगी, एक बार पेपर ट्रेल आएगी तो सब सामने. इट्स अ बेसिक एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड. यस, द डॉक्यूमेंट्स विल बी बल्की एंड दे विल रिक्वायर सम टाइम कि इसने कितने डॉक्यूमेंट्स क्रिएट किए या कितनी फर्जियां कंपनी क्रिएट की फॉर अस टू देन गेट अ हेड अराउंड इट कि इसने फ्रॉड कमिट किया, है ना. तो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी इन माय हम्बल ओपिनियन सर इज नॉट कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, इट्स द ऑडेसिटी ऑफ एवरीबॉडी हु इज कॉम्प्लिसिट इन अ क्राइम. Because ये टर्म्स आप इसको कह रहे हो, ये टर्म्स आप मुझे सबको नहीं कह रहे हो पढ़े लिखे हैं जो डे इन डे आउट क्रिमिनल लॉ में डील करते हैं. ये टर्म्स आप उस जनता को कह रहे हो जिसको बैंकिंग नहीं पता, जिसको स्टॉक मार्केट नहीं पता, जिसको रेगुलेशन नहीं पता, और जिसको पता नहीं कि जस्टिस सिस्टम कैसे काम करता है. क्योंकि कोर्ट इन इटसेल्फ इज आल्सो वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स क्रीचर. सो एज टू से आप पहले दिन, इफ यू आर अ फ्रेशर, यू डू नॉट नो इफ यू आर कंडक्टिंग अ क्रिमिनल ट्रायल which side of the court to stand. You do not know which side the PP stands, which side the defense lawyer stands. So corporate frauds, yes, are frauds of general criminal nature only. जो बंदा मर्डर करके आता है, जो बंदा या जुडिशियल अपॉइंटी बैठते हैं जजेस हैं, है ना, वही जज कभी सीबीआई का जज बनता है, वही जज कभी एसएफआई का जज बनता है, वही जज कभी ईडी का जज बनता है, वही हाई कोर्ट या सुप्रीम कोर्ट के रिटायर्ड जज इनको मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं. तो सिस्टम तो वही है. मैं ये आपसे कहना चाहता हूँ, सिस्टम नहीं बदला है, लोग नहीं बदले, कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी नहीं है इसमें, इट्स अ सिंपल थिंग. पर होता क्या है, यस, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, we don't want to simplify things, because if we simplify things, what will lawyers do? No, we'll go out of the job if things are simple, right? What will CA do if they don't complicate things, or what will CS do? So people like complicating things, because by the time you have complicated things, to simplify it takes time in the judiciary, because judiciary simplifies things and then gives the judgment. Look, there was this change, there was a fraud, and that is why I'm convicting you or I'm acquitting you, whatever the matter. So ये थोड़ी समझने की बात है. I think the people need to understand, but that people can only understand, as I said, from any discipline. You have to make this a part of your education curriculum. You have to empower people. But I don't know कब होगा. I don't know. Maybe the new education policy is something in it. I have not studied it, but I hope that something is given to the students to understand these things. I'll give an example. When I speak of Sahara, so a few years ago, I think about 6-7 years ago, I was in Tisari for a matter, और वहाँ पे एक बेचारा गरीब आदमी चिट लेके अपने हाथ में घूम रहा था. तो normally in a criminal trial, when a bail is given, so when you stand surety for a bail, तो आपको कुछ ना कुछ कागज देने पड़ते हैं. वो कागज या तो आपका बैंक ड्राफ्ट FD हो सकता है, या किसान विकास पत्र, आपकी गाड़ी के पेपर, फलाना, मतलब 2-3 उसके रिक्वायरमेंट्स होते हैं. वो बेचारा अपने हाथ में कागज लेके घूम रहा था, इसके ऊपर सहारा लिखा हुआ था, एंड दे वर द सेम सहारा बॉन्ड्स जिसके साथ चिट फंड स्कैम हुआ था. और वो सहारा बॉन्ड था 6,000 रुपए का। मैंने कहा यार ये तो मतलब ये कूड़े के भाव भी नहीं बिकेगा, क्योंकि उस टाइम तक सहारा का स्कैम आ चुका था मार्केट में। एंड ये तो पुअर मैन ही स्टार्टेड क्राइंग, बोलता सर मेरे पास तो सर यही है पैसे के नाम पे, मेरे पास कुछ और नहीं है, मेरा फैमिली मेंबर को बेल मिल गई बट जस्सा मेरा एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं। जस्सा कैसे एक्सेप्ट करेंगे, क्योंकि सहारा फ्रॉड हो गया। सहारा फ्रॉड नहीं भी होता तो सहारा was not a government entity on which the 6,000 rupee bond could have been assailed in a court of law. तो गरीब आदमी को आप ये देखिए कि कैसे मूर्ख बना जाता है इस देश में। आपने किया, आपने उसको कागज पकड़ा दिया ये प्रॉमिस देके, एंड बेसिकली चिट फंड क्या, इट्स अ पॉन्जी स्कीम। एंड व्हाट इज अ पॉन्जी स्कीम? You know that money is going from pocket A to pocket B, but it never goes to the person who has invested the money. वो फिर वो B2C और C2D जाते हैं, पर वो सेम ही पॉकेट या सेम ही आपके जो जो आपका वो बड़ी अलमीरा बना हुआ है इसमें अलग अलग कपड़े तो उसी में जाता है। तो this is what we have to understand, that people who are poor, people who are not educated, people who do not understand the market are by and large the victim of these corporate frauds. You take any corporate fraud in history, any corporate fraud, सब में कहीं ना कहीं आपको पॉन्जी स्कीम दिखेगी। एनरॉन में क्या हुआ था? एनरॉन में यही हुआ था, सेम स्कैंडल, बिकॉज दे वर कुकिंग देयर अकाउंट बुक्स। तो अकाउंट बुक्स कैसे कुक हो जाती हैं? व्हाई आर द सीए नॉट हेल्ड रिस्पांसिबल? सीए आपका सीए बैठ के बना रहा है ना अकाउंट बुक्स, तो उसको ऑडिट फिर आपके बैंक्स क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं जहां से आप लोन करते हो? और अगर बैंक ऑडिट कर रहा है तो बैंक में से लैप्सेस कैसे हो रहे हैं? नाउ द बिगर पिक्चर इज, टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन इज कि भाई इफ आई एम अ बैंकर एंड इफ यू कम टुडे फॉर मी फॉर लोन, मैं बोलूंगा जी कितने का लोन चाहिए? आप कहते हैं लेट्स से आई वांट 100 crore लोन्स, है ना, एंड देन आई विल सी प्रीवियस रिकॉर्ड। तो प्रीवियस रिकॉर्ड में अगर थोड़े एनपीएस भी होंगे तो आप उसको नजरअंदाज कर देते हैं, यू टेंड टू इग्नोर इट। द क्वेश्चन इज व्हाई आर द बैंकर्स इग्नोरिंग द एनपीएस? You talk to any banker in this country, and most of the private banks have so much of NPS. Why do you have NPS? And then you write them off as a bad debt. Most of these cases are not even reported as crime. So how is the economy supposed to survive? How is the criminality supposed to be ascribed to a particular entity or to a set of individuals? Are we not? And this is despite all these regulatory bodies in the country, I'm telling you. So the question that we need to ask, the bigger question is, how come people can be sleeping when all this is happening day in and day out? Because as the saying goes, money never sleeps. So if money doesn't sleep, why is the authority sleeping which is regulating the money? That's something we need to ask ourselves.
So sir, you mentioned some very pertinent points. You talked about Enron. So I believe the investigation system as such, it takes effect after the event happens. So the same thing happened in case of Enron as well. Arthur Andersen firm, it never operated after that again in the auditing business. You also explained us how Big Four has huge concentration in the market. It is always like auditing business is always given to these Big Fours, and because of their concentration, perhaps they don't take this business very seriously. And this is another flaw that exists in the market as of now. So as far as I read about this, I remember that England is planning to, dilute this concentration that they have. They're trying to promote other auditing firms to also participate in auditing business. You also explained how public sector banks are particularly suffering from a weak governance structure, wherein one after another frauds are coming up. So I believe to a very large extent, perhaps there can be answers that can be found in corporate governance or corporate social responsibility. But as of now, I want to ask you, before I go on to that question, I want to ask you, what are the loopholes that you believe are present in the current legal system, because of which the regulatory authorities are not able to tackle these problems that are existing in the market?
Look, there are no loopholes in the judicial system. Judicial justice delivery system is doing its job. They have to do the job, because once a crime is reported or the incident is reported, and when eventually the documents or a charge sheet is filed before a court of law, they have to do what they have to do. So there are no lapses in the judicial system, and that is something I'm very proud of being a part of the system. But yes, there are lapses in the regulatory system, there are lapses in the bureaucracy, there are lapses in the governance, and that is why these frauds are happening. So look, judiciary is the last stage. When we study civics in school, कहते हैं कि तीन चीजें हमारे देश में हैं: legislature, executive, judiciary. Judiciary का role कब आता है? Judiciary is not a law making body. It's a law regulating body in a way that we have to give justice and we have to interpret the law. And sometimes, because of the power vested because of the Constitution in Supreme Court and High Courts, they give judgment and that becomes the law of the land, right? But जो regulation हो रही है, जो lapses हो रहे हैं corporate fraud में, what is the logic behind that? Why is that happening? And then the question becomes, do they not have power? Absolutely, they have power, and that is why we have an act called the Prevention of Corruption Act to avoid corruption. but then you cannot man corruption when the money is flowing in black. ठीक है, या तो भाई, and I don't think, at least so far as my limited knowledge goes, is there a central data where I can access which company is having how many subsidiaries, you know, or how are these companies, you know, managing their funds? Are they reporting losses or not? Because many times you open a business newspaper, तो वो कहेंगे कि ये हमारी report आ गई है, वो आ गई है. So as I said, I can't read that report because that is not even Latin. That is, you know, some alien language for me. क्योंकि law पढ़ के तो आप Latin थोड़ी बहुत पढ़ लेते हो, कोई बात नहीं. But when you open a business newspaper, because I have not studied accountancy as a layperson, legal lawyer, I would not know what a business paper says. You know, because again, complexity वाली बात हो जाती है कि मतलब ये credit का column है, ये debit का column है, कौन सा पैसा कहाँ flow कर रहा है. My question is, look, this has been created from time immemorial, so that उसी सर्किट में काम होता रहे. सीधी सी बात तो इतनी है, you know, simply put. अगर वो चीजें मैं सिंपल कर दूंगा तो सबको समझ नहीं आ जाएंगी, और जहां पे सबको समझ आ गया तो आप लोगों को बेवकूफ कैसे बनाइएगा? 100 बात की एक बात तो ये है ना? So if I make business simple, होता क्या? Look, when you are in school, and I'm trying to simplify this, you know, when you're in school, your parents give you pocket money, right? मान लीजिए आपकी 100 रुपए पॉकेट मनी हफ्ते के हिसाब से है, आप दुकान में जाते हैं, you have to buy something, you know, and you say कि you go to a grocery shop and you say I want to buy a chocolate. Let's say chocolate is for 5 rupees or 10 rupees, right? You are supposed to get 90 rupees back when you give a 100 rupee note, you know. But if the shopkeeper says, you know, you take 70 rupees, I don't have 20 rupees change, I'll give it to you later, you know, मैं उसको अपने भाई खाते में लिख लेता हूँ, I'll write it in my book, and later you forget, you know, but he remembers and he doesn't give it to you. So that 20 rupees has gone somewhere in the system, right? Or if you come back and say, uncle, I need my 20 rupees, he'll make an excuse, oh, बेटा मेरे पास अभी है नहीं, मैं आपसे बाद में आके लूंगा. तो in a way that's a non-performing asset. आपने पैसा तो लगाया, आपको मिला नहीं, तो non-performing हो गया, वो घूम गया पैसा कहीं ना कहीं, ठीक है? That is fraud for you. Somebody is robbing you of your money. What is the role of a SEBI, a regulator like SEBI or SEC in America? I'll give you another example. Let's say I hold a blank envelope in my hand today, and I ask you, Arpit ji, कि आप इस पे bid करिए, ठीक है? You do not know what this envelope holds in it. Right? Let's say 100, and Arpit ji says I'm 500, and the highest wins. I say you give me 500 rupees. I have the 500 rupees. Arpit ji has that envelope because he was the highest bidder without knowing what was in that envelope. When he opens that envelope, it only has, let's say, 10 rupees in it. So he sustained a loss of 490 rupees. And SEBI, being a regulator, was supposed to know that this type of fraud is happening. This is what happens in stock market, stock exchange. When the price of the stock starts rising, you do not know whether a company is making profit. I do not know whether a company is making profit, but the stock market says the stocks are rising, supposedly because the company is making profit. So when I am putting my money in a stock, which yesterday was trading at 100 rupees, and today that's why they are there. But I've also seen cases where they only spring into action when a case becomes highlighted or has a media trial to it. And that, you know, is something that we need to hold these authorities accountable for. It's at the end of the day, your money and my money and taxpayers' money, which is being, you know, rounded off. Anybody who is, you know, aware of stock markets or involved in stock market, most of the people who are unsuspecting of a crime or a fraud which may be committed on them is putting in their money. So what were the authorities doing? Why can't they have these checks and balances? The basic question is, am I supposed to wait for 100 more frauds to happen before we can assimilate our data and devise a mechanism on how to handle these things? And that is why we need judiciary, because the authorities are failing in their duties. If they would not have failed in their duties, there would be no FIRs. And then lawyers like me would be jobless. So I must actually thank these authorities for not doing their job, you know. If they were so good in doing their jobs, you know, people like me would be famishing. So, yeah.
Do you think that market is more intelligent than the regulators? Perhaps they always find ways to commit.
The regulator is also intelligent, market is also intelligent, and criminal is also intelligent. You know, when we speak of criminal conspiracy under section 120B of IPC, the old saying goes that conspiracy is always hatched in secrecy. वो कभी बता के उसका डंका बजा के conspiracy नहीं की जाती है. Conspiracy इसलिए की जाती है क्योंकि दूसरे को नहीं पता कि conspiracy शुरू उसमें फिर बहुत चीजें इन्वॉल्व हो जाती है, किसने किया, क्यों किया, क्या किया, उसमें फिर ग्रेप वाइन्स बनती हैं. तो आई डोंट नो, यू नो, एंड इवन इफ आई नो, आई डोंट नो व्हाई पीपल डोंट एक्ट. सो कहते हैं कि यू नो, आप उस इंसान को तो जगा सकते हैं जो सो रहा है, पर उसको नहीं जगा सकते जो सोने का नाटक